Yellowstone tour van crash, 7 dead as tourists burned beyond recognition. 7 people have died and 8 have been injured following a dramatic bus crash at a major wildlife reserve, which saw the vehicle engulfed in flames. The collision between a tour van and second vehicle caused a raging fire on a road just outside the Yellowstone National Park in Idaho. The tour van and a Dodge Ram pickup collided on Thursday evening, Idaho police said. The accident took place at around 7:15 p.m. on a highway near Henry's Lake State Park, roughly 16 miles to the west of the world-famous national park. Among the dead were the driver of the pickup truck, it has been reported, and 6 of the 14 people inside the tour van at the time. Idaho State Police have identified one person who died in the accident, with the bodies of several crash victims left charred and unidentifiable. Fremont County Coroner Brenda Dye identified the driver of the pickup as 25-year-old Isaiah Moreno from Texas, adding she was still waiting for the results of DNA testing to identify the remaining 6 people. Their bodies were reportedly burned beyond recognition, although the coroner said they were all from outside the U.S. and had been participating in a Yellowstone tour. 2 were from Italy, she said in an interview, while adding it is unclear from where the remaining 4 had hailed. Representatives for the police service said in a statement that they were still trying to contact members of the family of people who were killed and injured. The authorities are also yet to provide a cause of the accident, with an investigation into the incident currently ongoing. Air ambulances and emergency paramedics had rushed to the scene, with dramatic pictures showing the charred wreckage of the vehicles smoking after the crash. One bystander, 60-year-old Roger Merrill, who was driving home when he came across the shocking scene, told the Associated Press he saw the 2 vehicles become engulfed in flames and attempted to care for survivors. He said, "It is a very dangerous highway because it leads to the main entrance of Yellowstone National Park. It's extremely busy." Mr. Merrill added that he often saw tourist vans on the highway leading up to the national park, and that its remote location had left him concerned about emergency response times to incidents. Other drivers had reportedly tried to help following the crash, having jumped from their vehicles to help, the New York Times reported, and were trying to pull out as many as they could from the tour van, Ms. Dye said. She added that they had helped 8 people, including a child, exit the vehicle before it caught fire. State police said the highway on which the accident took place, U.S. Highway 20, was closed for nearly 7 hours today, as emergency responders and the Idaho Transportation Department managed the scene and tried to clear the road. They came seeking wonder. The kind of awe that photographs never quite capture. Mist rising from geysers, elk ghosting through pine, the earth itself sighing in steam and sulfur. They were from everywhere. A couple from Atlanta celebrating their 25th anniversary, a trio of college friends from Phoenix on a post-graduation road trip, and a mother and son from Sewell on their first visit to America. The van was white, a bit dusty from the miles it had already clocked, and bore the green stenciled logo of Majestic Loop Tours. At the wheel was Ron Delaney, a seasoned guide who'd spent 12 years memorizing the winding arteries of Yellowstone. He knew where the wolves lingered at dawn, which mineral pools shimmered blue instead of red, and when to pull over so his guests could glimpse a bison migration without clogging traffic. On the morning of the crash, Yellowstone was hushed beneath a leaden sky. Smoke from distant wildfires gave the landscape a copper tint, as though nature had placed a sepia filter over its own beauty. Ron checked the tire pressure, sipped burnt coffee, and loaded his 7 passengers into the van just after 8 a.m. they left. They snapped pictures. Someone asked about Old Faithful's schedule. Someone else asked where the bears were. They never reached the geysers. The official report said the tour van's back axle gave out near a tight bend on the Norris Canyon Road. Unofficial whispers told of something far stranger: a sudden burst of heat, a mechanical scream, and then fire. Not just a fire, an explosion. Witnesses from a car several hundred feet behind described a column of black smoke twisting into the overcast sky like a devil's chimney. They said the van caught flame instantly. No warning, no skidding, no brake lights. Just a boom, and then fire curling outward, licking pine trunks, and singing a nearby signpost that read, "Welcome to Gibbon Meadows." Rangers were first on the scene, then paramedics. But there was no rescue to perform. The van had been engulfed. Only charred steel and the husk of a tire remained intact. Inside, what was left of the 7 passengers could not be named. Not by face, not by form. They were listed as burned beyond recognition. DNA and dental records would later identify them, but not before Yellowstone itself absorbed the tragedy. Rangers wept in silence. A bear wandered downwind of the wreckage, paused, then disappeared into the trees, as if even it could feel the weight of death in the air. The park shut down that road for a week. Flowers appeared at the crash site. Handwritten notes. A child's drawing of a smiling sun with 7 stick figures underneath it. And still, questions came. How could a van with a solid safety record erupt like that? Investigators combed through twisted debris. The NTSB sent specialists. Internet theorists speculated about a gas leak, sabotage, even spontaneous combustion due to a lithium battery someone had brought for drone photography. But nothing added up. Not really. The mother from Seoul, Lee Min-hee, had been filming out the window moments before. Her phone, somehow ejected and unharmed, was recovered from a bush. The video showed the trees passing, a glint of a distant lake. And then, for 2 seconds before the feed cuts off, a strange flash, like sunlight refracted through glass, but burning red. Ron's widow, Denise, couldn't stop watching it. "I don't think it was mechanical," she told reporters weeks later. "Ron would have sensed something. He was that kind of driver. This was different, like something came up out of the ground." The park kept quiet. But the land remembered. Visitors in the days following spoke of strange things. Electronics malfunctioning near Gibbon Meadows. A persistent hum like an engine idling beneath the soil. One woman claimed her dog refused to go near the trees lining the crash site, growling with his fur raised every time they neared. An anonymous tip led a journalist to old government records about geothermal pockets, once sealed off in the 1970s after an unstable vent was discovered. The documents referenced explosive gas accumulations and unusual magnetic activity. The sealed area, less than half a mile from the crash. Still, officials issued a final report. Mechanical failure leading to ignition. No evidence of foul play. Tragic accident. And yet, it didn't feel accidental. Not to the locals. Not to the rangers who'd seen too much over the years. They whispered now, trading stories in the break room. One said the van's remains had melted unnaturally fast, as if exposed to more than just fire. Another claimed the soil beneath the crash site had gone brittle, white like bone ash. The tourists became symbols. News channels aired tributes with their names and smiling faces. Social media reposted the last photos they had taken, standing in front of a geyser, grinning beside a herd of bison, hands raised in mid-laugh. 7 lives drawn to the beauty of Yellowstone. 7 souls claimed by a fire that still has no clear cause. In the months that followed, attendance at majestic loop tours plummeted. The company rebranded. The van route was removed from their map entirely. Ron Delaney's name was etched onto a plaque now bolted to a bench facing Gibbon Falls, where he used to tell stories about the park's magic and might. No one could ever explain what truly happened that day. But when the sun rises over Yellowstone, cutting through the mist like a slow blade, and the ground rumbles softly beneath your feet, some say it's the earth remembering. And some say the land never gives without taking.